Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you were there? Or maybe you met someone new, only to forget their name 5 minutes later. Perhaps you've spent hours studying for an exam, only to find yourself staring at the test paper thinking, I know this. Why can't I remember it? Most of us think memory is simple. You learn something, you remember it, done. But psychologists have spent decades trying to figure out how memory actually works. Today, we're going to explore one of the biggest questions in psychology.
How does memory work? Okay, the magic is over. Hello everyone, this is Melissa, and I'll be the one to answer your questions. Don't tell me you're expecting Miss AI will read the scripture for me, did you? Aha, no. I'm the one who wants to make friends with you, not her. Okay, I should focus how memory works. This question is related to cognitive psychology. Wait, don't leave. I'm not here to throw the textbook at you. Have some balls, people. I'm here to solve your questions. Okay, back to the topic. To answer these questions, let me introduce you to scientists. Richard C. Atkinson, who later became the president of the University of California, and Richard M. Shiffrin, a superstar in cognitive psychology. Both of them are the best work buddies. They work together on research about memories, learning, and cognitions. Actually, Atkinson is 12 years older than Shiffrin, so I'm not sure if they are friends who drink beers after work to talk about human minds, like a type. Atkinson, this weird dude, is really into math. In the 60s, he was mainly studying human memory, learning mathematical psychology. I don't even know what that is. I'm still a new psychology student. Shiffrin was focusing on attentions, recognitions, and information processing. So they team up together to build a memory system. Well, basically you can say they are the architect and engineer. Let's talk a little bit of history. Before the cognitive revolutions, we have a term called behaviorism. They think psychology should only study something we can observe, which is behavior. Something like memory, thinking process, and imaginations cannot be seen, so they don't want to study them. However, people start to notice that behaviorism cannot explain many things, like how we learn languages and how we understand and communicate. We can't just push the button to get food. Then there's a dude called Noam Chomsky roasting Skinner about it. Not long after, we invented a computer. Computer is a very important figure that inspires psychologists to think, could our brains be like an information processing system? Which means the computer? As a result, psychologists began studying mental processes again. They do different experiments to prove their points and slap it on the behavioral spaces. Many scientists contribute to these revolutions, like Chomsky, Miller, Nisser, Atkinson, and Shiffrin. Yes, including Atkinson and Shiffrin. And this is how we have cognitive psychology, and they were among the first generations of cognitive psychologists. Why do I bring that up? It doesn't relate to the question, does it? Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to introduce you the modal model. Yes, modal model. Okay. You know, people are curious and like asking different questions. During the time of the 50s and 60s, psychologists were stuck solving these questions. We all know some memories we should forget within seconds, and some we will remember forever, but we don't know how it happens. For example, I'm telling you to memorize pi number, Within a day, you might be able to say 3.14159265 but the next day you forget it all. However, we can remember our names the whole time. It sounds suspicious, doesn't it? Maybe our brains actually works like a computer. So, this is how the Modal Model was born in 1968. And the birth certificate, here it is: human memory, a proposed systems and its control processes. Our heroes think of memory as a conveyor belt. If you are not sure what I was talking about, let me change an example for you. A one-way bus, and information is the passengers in the bus. So the informations will follow the procedure to get through 3 stops, which are sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. The information will first get into the first stop, sensory memory. Sensory memory is the shortest stage of memory. Most sensory informations disappear within a second unless we pay attention to it. Smelling coffee in the coffee shop and seeing a cat walking down on the street are the examples of sensory memory. To enter the next stop, the bus driver needs to raise the ticket price. Attention. Without attentions, the information cannot even get into STM. Short-term memory, or STM, is the part of memory that temporarily holds information we are currently thinking about. It has limited capacity and usually retains information for only a short time unless we actively rehearse it. For example, when you remember a phone number just long enough to dial it, you are using the STM. STM usually lasts about 15 to 20 seconds. To enter the final destinations, the bus driver raises the ticket price again. This time, the ticket is called rehearsal. Rehearsal means repeating of practicing information repeatedly. For example, if someone tells you a phone number and you keep repeating it in your head, 5551234, 5551234, 5551234. You are rehearsing. The more we rehearse information, the more likely it is to move into long-term memory. Long-term memory, or LTM, is the final stop of the journey. Unlike STM, which has limited capacity, LTM can store a massive amount of information for a very long time, sometimes for an entire lifetime. Your name, your first day of school, how to ride a bike, your favorite songs, all of these memories are stored in LTM. Now, remember that fancy word I mentioned earlier, retrieval? Or I did not mention it at all. Retrieval is not the ticket to enter long-term memory. Instead, retrieval happens when we take information back out. Imagine long-term memory as a giant library. Whenever you need information, you walk into the library, find the right book, and bring it back to your desk. That's retrieval. For example, if I ask you, what is your mother's name? You probably don't carry that information in your STM all day long. Instead, your brain retrieves it from long-term memory when you need it. So according to the Modal Model, memory works like a journey. Sensory memory to attentions, to short-term memory, to rehearsal, and to long-term memory. And whenever we need information again, retrieval brings it back. Of course, psychologists now know that memory is much more complicated than this module suggests. Later, researchers developed theories such as working memory and many other memory systems. However, the Modal Model was revolutionary for its time. It was one of the first attempts to explain how information moves through the mind, and it helped lay the foundations of modern cognitive psychology. So the next time you remember your name, a childhood memory, or even where you left your coffee, remember the 2 psychologists who imagined memory as a journey. And now that we know how memory works, now let's see if we got it. Can you explain how memory works? If you can explain the journey from sensory memory to long-term memory, congratulations! you just learned the modal model. Spoiler, the next episode will be Why Do We Forget? Or maybe I'm not going to make the video again. Sorry about my accent. That's horrible.